So you can see our world needs help. It really seriously does need help. When we work with vibrational medicine, the most extraordinary thing about this medicine is that it has a profound ability to work on every level of our lives, how we think, how we feel, our spirituality, our emotions. And again, the repercussion of negative spirituality and the repercussion of negative emotions will impact very seriously on the physical body. I think modern medicine is looking at the human body in the wrong direction. Instead of looking at the beauty of us, each one of us, we're not robots. We're beautiful human beings. We have souls, we have faith, we have belief systems, we follow religious thoughts and belief systems. And even those people who say, I don't believe in God, when something goes wrong, the first thing they say is, oh God, please help me. So do we believe in God? I think we all do. We all know that there's a greater consciousness which is beyond us, and that's something that we are being constantly protected with and constantly provided with the answers, and we always know that they're there when we ask. That's my little granddaughter. She's now 18, so she's very happy little baba. So we use the life force of plants to restore and regain balanced energetic health, encouraging mankind to resonate with nature and thus restore and maintain harmonious living. Just a little teeny word about the American deli. When you started to bring the American food into Malaysia, your health declined instantly. Your food, don't distrust it. It is extraordinary. Turn your back on American wheat. It's probably too expensive to import now anyway. Turn your back on the deli. Go back to your wonderful rice. Go back to your cultural heritage, your natural food, your natural plants. Go back to it. So this unique and non-invasive, life-preserving natural approach to many current health problems which beset modern man, incorporating many, many scientific principles such as anatomy, physiology, maths, sacred geometry, Pythagoras, Newton, Leonardo da Vinci, ancient knowledge, acupuncture, yoga, Ayurvedic herbs and nutrients. This philosophy is for all of us because it's a philosophy of life. It's a philosophy of being enabled to work with our beautiful planet within the world. And an explanation of this term phytobiophysics is that phyto is a word for plant, and plants, food, fruit, vegetables, nuts, seeds, nutrition, herbs, plant medicine, and just the beauty of the surrounding, you know, the beauty of our world, the jungles, the wonderful flowers that you have in your gardens. And bio is a word for energy and biology, energy, the cells, and bioresonance. If you think that flower essences are not scientific, you have to think again. The principles behind the investigation of working with flower essence is extremely in-depth, it's extremely scientific and extraordinarily provable because we need proof. Physics, of course, is science, and science doesn't always prove everything. We think we know a great deal, but you can scientifically explain a great deal, but even so, you have no idea what's going on in the cells in your tiny little fingertip here. It's quite extraordinary how little we know and how little science comes up with interesting answers. So vibrational medicine is not new. It is centuries and centuries old. Of course, acupuncture is the most ancient, sophisticated, practiced, well understood form of vibrational medicine. It's known that energy travels through circuitry systems called energy fields or meridians. And even so, the Western paradigm is rather scoffing, you know, it's acupuncture, you know. But think again, I mean, surely with the advent of Wi-Fi, the fact that I can call Moon from Jersey and say, hello Moon, just by pressing a button, surely that must give you some concept of the incredible concept of circuitry and Wi-Fi in our bodies, extraordinary, every single little cell talking to each other. So intriguingly, in 1940, the most astonishing German doctor called Dr. Voll decided that he would set about to prove that acupuncture points and acupuncture meridians existed with Western technology. And so he produced an extraordinary little gadget known as the electroacupuncture accord interval galvanometer. Basically, the galvanometer was quite simply working on the principle that there is a natural homeostasis in the human body. And we know this because we take a thermometer and we can take a reading of from a thermometer. And we know very well that if it's too hot, if you're too hot, you have a fever. And if the thermometer reading is low, that you're sedated and that you're actually ill because you're probably cold, and heat is a byproduct of energy. So he basically said, well, if we can create a thermometer to measure health, then we can certainly go beyond heat and look at the energy that creates it. And it's from that principle, I was very, very fortunate to train with one of his acolytes, a lovely man called Professor Fox, who was very senior when I trained with him, and of course he's since passed. But he was one of Vol's students. So it was secondhand to me, and I took this knowledge and turned it into an ability to investigate through these acupuncture meridians, every single acupuncture point, and what flower supported it, what brought it back into aberration. But one of the most interesting of the scientists that I worked with, and who was quite an extraordinary man, was Professor Popp, Fritz Albert Popp. Professor Fritz Albert Popp set up the University of Biophysics in Germany again. And he made this absolutely astonishing discovery that every cell in the human body vibrates on its own specific frequency. And when healthy, it emits and transmits light on that same color frequency faster than a billionth of a second. Now that sounds complicated, doesn't it? But if you have a little drop of blood, say you prick your finger, and a little drop of bright ruby red blood comes out, and that little bright red blood, it's still alive. If you look at it very carefully, you can see it vibrating, it flickers, it's got this incredible little shimmer. But if you let that drop of blood drop off your finger onto a piece of paper, for example, after a short while, it loses its color, it ceases to be red. It doesn't emit light and transmit light in the same way as it did when it was first dropped, first pricked. What happens is it dies, and as it dies, it gets sick, and as it gets sick, it ceases to be able to emit and transmit color. The incredible frequency of healthy blood is 660 nanometers, absolutely spot on. Red flowers, like the poppy, the hibiscus, vibrating on exactly the same frequency as healthy blood. When you take an essence of hibiscus, it's like a tuning fork, and its resonance will actually rebalance, allowing the aberrant ill health in the blood to actually stabilize and restore itself back into harmony. And it's from that respect that the blood starts to heal itself. Every cell in the human body speaks to the aberrant cells next to it. And this is one of the great tragedies, is when the cells start to break down and they can no longer resonate on their correct frequency, then sadly, things start to go a little bit wrong. So that's one of the reasons why working with scientists around the world is so very, very vital, because we all have something to offer. And I'm proud to say that our institute is made up of specialists, doctors, mothers, fathers, family members, young people, even some children who are, we call them our Phytobiophysics babies. Sometimes, you know, a big room full of wonderful people, all with their own intellect, their own knowledge, brings our institute into life because it gives us a wisdom that is beyond. But always there has to be a cohesive resonance to a group of people to be able to understand what it is that we need in order to bring about health. It was actually his extraordinary work. Very sadly, he died, which means that so many of these wonderful mentors that I trained with, I now have to be the trainer because they've all gone. So I have to take their knowledge and spread it and use it to be able to help other people. So all living cells of plants, animals, and human beings emit these incredible biophotons, which cannot be seen by the naked eye. But there are measurement devices that can actually measure this. And when we train people, we train you to be able to do a simple test, a muscle test, which is very, very rewarding because it's very much on the principle of the galvanometer, but it's something that every single person can do, and we can teach you how to do it in half an hour. So it's very, very useful.